Welcome to another episode of the Baseball Awakening Podcast, where we dive into the raw, unfiltered, unsexy side of player development. Get ready for some knowledge bombs with your host, Geoff Rottmayer.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm Geoff Rottmayer, and this is the Baseball Awakening Podcast. You know, my day job is I own an academy, and I develop baseball players. And so we have pro guys that train with us, we have college guys, and we have high school guys, and we have middle school guys. And all of them have some sort of desire to play at a higher level. And most of them want to at least play college baseball, which we think is an achievable goal for most players. And so I had a workshop the other day at my place, Athletic Mission Baseball Academy in Tulsa, and the response was great, and we're hosting another one very soon. But anyway, we talked about the college recruiting process. And a lot of parents are clueless when it comes to the process and what it means, and they're constantly running in circles, or they're skipping steps. And the end result, they're making costly mistakes, and it can make a big difference in their son's ability to go play for a potential school of their choice. So the goal of this workshop and this episode is to educate and to share the process that you can follow that will assist you in the process. Understand that this whole process can be done by yourself. You don't need to hire someone else. Now, if you want to, that's fine. That's on you. But if you want to hire someone to hold you accountable, that's what people hire us for. We'll just hold them accountable. But I always let them know, you don't need anybody to help you with this. This can all be done by yourself. Okay. So, but here's what we have to do. We have to understand the numbers. We have to understand what coaches are looking for. You have to understand the financials of college. And then you got to understand your son's staff. And all of this is going to come together. And this understanding why understanding of this is important, because now you can understand why the process is laid out the way that it is. So again, this is a process, which means that one needs to be completed before moving on. Now, certainly you can revisit early parts of the process, but I would highly recommend not skipping steps. So the process is going to look like this, and I've got a picture in the show notes. And so here's what we're going to cover. We're going to say the first part is first thing first. This is where we're going to discuss a few things that we must understand before we talk about the rest of the process. The second part we're going to talk about is the reality check. This is where we have a real conversation and a real understanding of yourself as parents and players. And then the third part, we have the evaluation and what they are looking for. So this is where we're going to talk about the importance of the evaluation that is based on truth and understanding. And then, of course, ensuring that you guys understand what the coaches are looking for. Okay. Then we have the academic and the skills plan. This is where we hammer out a plan to improve or stay consistent with the academic achievement and athletic development. After that, we talk about the right level. So this is where we discuss what is honestly the right level for you based on what we've understood about the evaluation and where you are academically. Okay. Then from there, once we have all that good understanding, we're going to make a hot list. So again, this is based on our understanding of the current level of play, and then putting together a list of programs that we would like to play for. Okay. So now that we've done all that, now we're going to make a video. Okay. So, the skill video is important. Doing it right is important. But we'll show you how to do this, and then we'll tell you how to send it to coaches. Okay. And then that would take us to the next step, which is sending emails. So now you have your hot list together and a video. So now it's time to reach out to coaches. Okay? And then the next part is the part, am I being recruited? So I'm getting emails and letters from all these colleges. Does this mean that I'm being recruited? Okay? And then from there, we're going to go, how do we use our visits? Understand how to use your visits is important because choosing the right school is important. And then lastly, we talk about scholarship. Now you're getting offers, and so now what? So we're going to dig deeper into each of these areas, but understand that some of these things have got to happen first. You got to follow the process, not skip around. And then the other thing is the conversation that you're having, you got to have real conversation, real understanding. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy with the process. Okay. So let's just kind of go through this. We're going to go deep into the first part, which is the first thing first. So here's what we must understand. That one, we must be a good student. Your son has to be a good student. So what does this mean? He's got to have good grades, go to class, respect his coaches, respect his teachers, respect his teammates, do the right thing. Keep it clean on his social media channels, stuff like that. We see this stuff cost kids opportunities all the time. So the worst thing that can happen is a college coach likes you, but can't or won't talk to you because of character issues or grades. This could be the one guy that likes you and believes in you, but he can't recruit you. The second worst thing that can happen is a coach recruits and offer a kid that's equally as talented as you, but goes with them because they have the grades and have character. So the next thing we have to understand after that is you got to be a good baseball player. I tell guys to think of it as like a job. If your skill sets aren't there, you're probably not going to get the promotion. But the guy that's standing next to you, skill sets are there, he's probably going to get the promotion. Okay, so you need to invest your time, your effort, and your money into developing the skill set that's going to allow you to master your craft. In addition to that, you got to work hard. You got to outwork everyone. There's someone out there that's working harder than you. There's someone out there working smarter than you. This game's hard, so you got to enjoy putting in the work. You got to enjoy working hard. You got to enjoy the process of getting better. So now that brings us to the next thing we have to understand is the odds. What are our odds of being able to play college baseball? The odds of a kid going to play baseball is 9 to 1. College baseball, 9 to 1. So for every 9 player, only 1 is going to go to college and play baseball. Now, for D1, 47 to 1 odds. So for every 47 players, there will be 1 that play Division I baseball. So understand that. But now, let's say this. We have 500,000 kids that are playing high school baseball. 58,000 of them will go to college. It's crazy. So 11.5%. And of that 11.5%, 2.1% will go to the Division I level. 2.1% will go to the Division II level. 2.7% will play at the D3 level. 1.4% will play NAIA, and 3.2% will play at the JUCO. So we got to understand this. We got to understand what this means, and we got to understand that not everybody's on the path to D1. You know, we'll go and discuss that at a later time, later date, later in the show. But understand, parents are always kind of surprised to hear some of this stuff. So now, this brings us to understanding baseball scholarships. Understand that very few players get a full-ride scholarship. The average roster is 35 players. So understand this: at the Division I level, of 35 players that they have, 11.7. They have 11.7 scholarship to hand out. So if they had a full ride for everyone, they would have 11 full ride, or they would have 35 full ride scholarships. But they only have 11.7. So now if everybody on the team got a full ride, there will only be 11 kids on the team. So once you understand it, you kind of look at things a little bit differently. Division II had 9, D3 had none, NAIA had 12, and JUCO route has 24. So this is important to understand because now it becomes a financial decision that most parents don't even really think about. So that brings us to, let's talk about this financial or academic financial. Every school tuition is different. So this is important because when making a decision, let's say between a 50% scholarship offer and a 25% scholarship offer. That 50% scholarship offer, that tuition may be higher than the 25%. So now it's kind of a different game when even though the baseball money was better, you still are out of more money than you are with the less money. So it becomes important to understand the financial commitment on a family for a kid to go to college, and it's super important. This is where it's super important for the kid to get good grades because you are likely to get more academic money than you will baseball. So all of that's really important to understand. So now that leads us to understanding your personal stats. So this is going to refer to anything that you can measure. Anything that you can measure, you need to measure. And then you need to ensure that they fit within your peers and the players that you're competing with. So numbers like your active ball speed, your throwing velocity, your 60 time, your pop time, weight room numbers, stuff like that. And achieving these numbers will get the foot in the door a lot easier. It's not going to automatically get you noticed and offered, but it will help spread the word around if you have the number of what they're looking for. So knowing these numbers is going to be super important, and knowing this now makes you understand why everything else that we're going to be covering is important. Now, the NCAA slogan, it says this: there are 400,000 student athletes, and most will go pro in something other than our sport. So you got to understand that the odds of playing professional baseball goes down as well. You have a much better chance at playing at the college level than at pro ball. So let your sport help you through the admission process, and let your degree help you throughout your life. So with that, let's go deeper into the academic portion. Here's what you want to be. You want to be the guy that gets the 3.5 GPA and a 26 on your ACT. This is going to make it easier for a coach who is looking at you and two equally talented kids and trying to decide which one he wants to go with. Or you could be the guy that the NCAA says in your core classes you have at least a 2.3. Listen, high school classes typically are not that hard. Show up, do your work, study for your test, and you should be able to get the good grade in high school. So don't mess it up. It's really not that hard. You got to stay focused though. So now, the academic profile We can break that down into 5 different categories. We have the first one is going to be your grades. So the grades obviously matters. Coaches have been preaching this for years after years after years. Okay, so this matters. The next one's going to be the strength of your class. So challenge yourself a little bit in high school. Don't take blow-off classes. Challenge yourself because they're looking at that. The next one's going to be the academic achievements. So getting the good grades, getting on the honor roll, the National Honor Society, internships, stuff like that, stuff that's going to give you a recognition of academic achievement. And then you have your standardized testing scores. So that's going to be the ACT and the SAT. And your GPA is important, and the test scores are going to be pretty close behind it. And now understand that your GPA will dictate the test score that you need to achieve. And then the last part of the academic profile is going to be the reputation of the school. So obviously, the reputation matters. Okay. So now, so now that we understand all this, let's get to the fun part. Let's get to the baseball part. Let's jump into the part that I call understanding the reality. So here's what we have to understand. What you see and what the college coaches see. Okay? We have to understand this. It's impossible for a parent to objectively evaluate their son the same way that a coach will. Because here's the thing, 99% of the time, your son's not as good as you think he is. And that's not your fault. Your job to think very highly of your son. But you're never going to look at your son the same way that a college coach would. And a college coach will never be able to look at your son the way you do. So understand, it's difficult to hear that your son is not good enough to play for a certain program. But what you can do, one or two things. You can complain about it, or you can use it to motivate you to get better. So now that we understand this, you can't go around saying that this coach doesn't know what he's talking about. Because here's the thing, college coaches are typically the best evaluator. The ability to evaluate talent is the lifeblood of college coaching skills. Coaches are recruiting players that can make their roster better. And here's the thing you got to realize too is coaches know exactly what the players on their team and the teams that they play, what these players look like, which gives them the most qualified set of eyes in which they can develop or evaluate a player. They rarely get it wrong. So if a dozen coaches come to you and they say, you're a D3 player, well, understand you're a D3 player. Now, understand this too. All it takes is one person to like you, one person to believe in you. So just know that, maybe there is that low-level D2 coach that likes you even though you're a D3 player. All it takes is one person. So just always remember that. Okay? So now let's talk about the parents' role. Parents, you love your son. You want what's best for him. But when it comes to the college recruiting process, you need to kind of step back and let your son do the work. Be the accountability partner that they need. Your son needs to be proactive in this process, which is appealing to coaches to hear from players, not the parents. So when it comes to the communication, to the emails, to the phone calls, let your son do all that. Let them do all the talking. Just love them, support them, and hold them accountable. And you can find countless of articles and quotes on the internet of coaches saying that very exact thing. So help your son, help him, help himself out. Okay? So now let's jump to the evaluation part and what they're looking for. So I feel like this is a very important part of the process. It's important to find someone that can honestly evaluate what they see in your son. And as you go through the process of seeking information for your son, about your son, try not to get so emotionally involved. You need to take the information for what it is and then go find someone that can help you achieve what they think or what they think and feel that you're lacking. Okay? So again, just understand that it doesn't really matter what you think as a player or as a parent. It only matters what they're saying, because for the most part, they know what is needed for you to go play at the level that you desire. Okay, so first thing first, I would do a self-evaluation. And I have a self-evaluation sheet, and I can send it to you if you want. Just send me an email at thebaseballawakening@gmail.com. Again, thebaseballawakening@gmail.com. And I can send you over this sheet that I'm talking about right now. But what needs to happen is your son needs to fill out this sheet. The parent needs to fill out a sheet. And then you need to get a couple coaches to fill out the sheet as well. So now, when it's all said and done, you're going to have about 3, 4, 5 different thought process. And you or the player need to make sure that everyone filled out these sheets as honestly as possible. I mean, it does no good not to be honest. It doesn't help you. So you need to honestly figure out where you are. And then, of course, there's always other options. Another option is you can go to a local college camp and you can ask them to evaluate you, And here's the thing, you want to get college coaches to remember you. So here's the process that I tell guys to do. Go sign up for a camp. And next thing you're going to do is you're gonna send an email letting them know that you're going to attend the camp, and that you were hoping that you could evaluate him. And in that email, make sure you put the skill video on there. Okay? Now, as soon as you get to the field, you're going to introduce yourself to the coach. As soon as you get there. So a firm handshake, look at him in the eye, and speak up so that he can hear you talk. And then, post-camp, you're going to go up to that same coach, shake his hand, and tell him thank you for having the camp, and then proceed to ask him to evaluate you and what you can improve to be able to go play at his program. Then from there, when you go home, you're going to send an email to the coach thanking them again for the camp, the information, and the feedback. Okay, so again, the goal is to get coaches to remember who you are. If you send them an email before you get there, shake his hand as soon as you get there, shake his hand after you get there, and send an email after, you're definitely going to be remembered. Okay, so now the other option could be to go to a showcase. And you know what? We're going to follow the same exact process as above. Go to the camp, sign up for it, tell the coaches that are supposed to be there that you're going to be there, put your video on there, introduce yourself to coaches as soon as you get there, firm handshake, look them in the eye, speak up, and then afterward you're going to go to them all and say thank you, ask for some feedback that they got, and then you're going to send some emails. So while we're on the topic of showcase, I believe a lot of them are a waste of money. The idea that you need to go to a showcase to get in front of college coaches is kind of lazy, to be honest. It's your job to work hard to get college coaches to come watch you play. You can do a better job than anybody out there by yourself if you're proactive. And trust me, I see it all the time. You will have money, time, and frustration. You will save money, time, and frustration by not attending these things until you're ready. So that brings you to, how do I know I'm ready? Showcases are designed for players who possess the elite level skills. So if you throw very hard for your age, maybe a showcase might help you. If you run extremely fast, maybe a showcase might help you. If you have extreme power, maybe a showcase might help you. But the odds are, most kids fall into the average range and they get lost in events like this. So you're better off, investing in training. Because the thing you have to remember is first impression matters. What gets the attention right out of the gate is the look test. Does he pass the look test? Walter Beatty, who I interviewed earlier, said it best. He goes, I refer to the 2010 rules, meaning if 100 kids show up to a showcase, 10 of them are going to pass the eye test. And then 2 of them are going to be above average to elite average stuff. So it's crazy. It's crazy when you think about that and the showcase and then how much money people are putting into it. And then, of course, the other option is to get evaluated by your high school coach. They see you every single day. Make sure that, you have a coach who had sent players on to different levels, because here's what we want them to do. We want them to compare you to a player that has played for them in the past. So what'll happen is they'll say, hey, I compare, you remind me of Jose, and Jose went to a Division II. So, or you remind me of Corey, and Corey went to a Division II. So you can see that he starts comparing, that he can kind of give you an idea of what level you're at as well. So now let's move on to what the coaches are looking for. And I'm going to go through this kind of pretty quickly, but if you want more information, you can email me at thebaseballawakening@gmail.com. So the first thing first, as we just talked about this, is you got to pass the look test. So what does this mean? You got to look the part. You got to look good. Got to dress properly. You got to look like you spent some time in the weight room. Got to make sure your hat's on right. The shirt's tucked in. You just got to look good. You got to look the part. And then another big one is you got to act like you want to be there. When you go to the ball field, 97% of these kids act like they don't want to be there. Now, let me just say the 97% I just made up. Right? You go to a ballpark, it seems like a lot of kids don't want to be there. Okay, so now it's a high number, but it's just the perception that they give off. That perception matters. The other thing that matters is how you walk off the bus, how you walk from the dugout to go stretch, how you warm up, how you take in and out, infield and outfield. All those things matter. They just want you to do the little things right. So again, we can go, make sure you're running to your position, play hard, play the game the right way, get the bunt down when they ask you to bunt, get the ball on the ground to move runners, make routine plays, compete and win. All the stuff that requires no skills that's within your control. So let's jump ahead and let's talk about, what college coaches are looking for in hitters. So you want a kid that's got a good swing with fast hands, a kid that has an understanding of how to hit, a kid that has an approach and a game plan, a kid that had a good mechanic approach, someone who has plate discipline, strike zone awareness, someone who knows thyself, someone, if the ball is over the fat part of the plate, they barrel it up. Someone who can make adjustments, someone who's consistent, someone who is a competitor and a winner. Okay, so these are just some examples of some of the things that they're looking for. Now, there are some metrics that can kind of help you. So they're looking for a good active ball speed. We're looking for good bat speed, hand speed, hard hit contact, strikeout to walk ratio, stuff like that. So, there's a lot to the hitting part. Okay. And then to jump over to the pitching part, you have good mechanics with fast arm, a good understanding of how to pitch, an approach and a game plan, knowledge of, your hitters, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, secondary pitches that you can throw at any time, adjustments that are made, consistency, a competitor. So, and then of course there's the metric, you have the velocity, so 86 to plus, the 90 plus might be Division One. 82 to 90 plus can be D2. Stuff like that, so just understanding that all those other things, the velocity is great, but if you can have the mechanic right, understanding how to get guys out, game plan and approach, all that stuff is going to help you as a pitcher. And then jumping over to the fielding, we want a guy that's got good arm strength, a guy with good speed and good range, have good instincts, that are aggressive, soft hands, can hit. It's consistent, smooth, and fluid. So, and we'll jump over to the catchers. Same thing. They want good arm strength, strong foundation, agility and quickness of the hands and the feet, quick and soft hands, leadership, ability to call the game, stuff like that. And then we have the outfielders. So again, we want good arm, good speed, good range, good instincts. You want a player that's aggressive, soft hands, can hit, that's consistent, and just fluid. So now up to this point, you have done your own skills assessment. Your parents put one together. Your coaches put one together. You went and got evaluated by a third party. And now you understand what college coaches are looking for. So with all this, just understand, just understanding this is going to put you way ahead of a lot of people that are going through this process. So now you need a plan to stay on top of your academic achievement and stay on top of your athletic skill development. So this is where you need to get with someone. You need to get with someone that understands the process and someone that can help you develop. And there's plenty of good guys out there doing great work. I just invest in your son, invest in their skills, and make it will be worthwhile, I promise. So now we're moving on. Let's kind of talk about the finding the right level. Up to this point, you have an understanding of where you are in terms of academic. You know what your GPA is. You know what your test score is. Maybe you don't. Maybe you haven't taken it yet. That's fine. But now you understand where you fit in terms of being able to get into a school. So obviously you need to keep working on it, keep improving your grades and your test scores. But for now, we're going to focus on the program that you fit currently in your current situation academically. Okay? And then we also are going to have an understanding of where we are, what level we can play in terms of, D1, D2, D3. Okay? So understand this. You guys heard the stat earlier of the odds of kids playing Division I baseball. It was 47 for one. The 47 for every 47 players, one of them get to play D1. So try not to get so hung up on the D1 or nothing. A lot of guys are willing to accept D1 offers from crappy D1 schools that haven't won in 10 years just because they want to play D1. It's crazy. It's not, D1's not all, it's not what it's cracked up to be. Neither is pro ball. for that matter. But just understand that if you're good enough, they'll find you. Okay, trust me on that. If you're good enough, they will find you. So try not to get so caught up on the different levels. Okay, so just accept where you're at. Focus on the schools that could use your skill sets, and don't waste so much time, and don't get so emotionally caught up in coaches that tell you that you're not the right fit for them. So just go through this process and just understand where you're at, and understand that this isn't where you're going to end up. Maybe if you keep developing, then yeah, you can start now focusing on a different level. But for now, just focus currently on the level that you're at, so that you're not wasting time and money. So now, up to this point, we understand, the things we need to understand. We've had the reality check. We've had the honest conversation. We've had the evaluation. We've had the academic plan, that you've had to put together, a skill development plan, the right level. And now we're at the make a hot list. Okay. So what you're going to do now is you understand, let's say okay, listen, I'm a D2 guy. So you're going to go on the internet, google.com, which is a pretty good place to start. And you're going to start finding programs that fit the level and where you think you would like to play. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick 20 schools. 10 of them are going to be in your sweet spot. 5 of them are going to be up. So we're going to see smaller D1 schools. Schools that you don't quite meet the skill set yet, don't quite meet in terms of skill set or academic. And then you're going to find 5 schools that you are almost overqualified for. So now the thing to understand when you're putting this list together, the things you need to think about is you need to think geographically. You need to think academically. You need to think financially. You need to think social life. And as you get feedback from schools, so all those things matter. Okay. So as you are working on this, the next part of the process, you're going to be sending emails to these coaches. Now you're gonna start getting feedback, and what you need to understand is if a school tells you that they're not interested, that's fine. Just remove them from the list, but make sure you replace them with someone else. Okay, so again, this is also going to kind of help you find your sweet spot. If you send it to 10 schools, let's say you email 10 schools and all 10 of them in your sweet spot, and they're not responding and they're not interested, then we probably need to focus on a lower level. Okay. So now, as we go through this process, try not to get so emotionally involved in the schools that are not interested. You got to think about it. Just it's kind of like applying for a job. You're not going to get every job, but the more you practice, you'll get the more the odds increases. So you got to get the right skill set for that level. Okay, so don't get so emotionally involved. All right, now let's talk about some questions that you want to ask while you're kind of working on the process of putting together a hot list. You have to ask yourself, let's talk about in terms of size of the school. Are you wanting the big college life experience, the football games and the big campus? Or are you more comfortable with a smaller population, a couple thousand kids, no football team? Do you want 100+ kids in your classes? Or would you rather have about 30 to 50? Okay, so those are the type of questions you need to ask, size of college. And then another part you can think about is distance from home. How easy do you want to be able to get home? If you're going to fly, are you prepared to fly back and forth 20 to 30 times over the next 4 years? And then, more importantly, can you afford to do that? Would you rather live at home or drive at home every weekend? So, understanding that. Now, other things is, does the school have the academic studies that you want to do? Understanding, what it is you like to do. And then, then the last part, there's that financial part, understanding what you can afford and what you can't afford, and then going to seeing if you are qualified for some financial aid help. And then the next thing you need to do is go and study their roster for the last 5 years. And most of the team's website, you can go back and look at their roster. If a school that you're looking at, go on there and see how many kids from the last 5 years are from the state that you're in. So in our case, it's Oklahoma. If you don't see a kid from Oklahoma on their roster in the last 5 years, then it's safe to say that they're not focused on that specific region. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't be interested, but just understand that focusing on those programs might be kind of a stretch. So be prepared and hear more from, focus on more of the programs that have kids from Oklahoma over the last 5 years or whatever state that you are in. So this is all we're going to cover today. And again, we talked about the first thing first, what we must understand before we start the process. We talked about the reality check, the conversation that we need to have, a real conversation, as our, understanding ourselves as parents and players, Then we talked about the evaluation and what they look for and how important this evaluation is. From there, we went on to the academic and skill planning. So connecting with the right people that will help you in certain areas that will make you better. Then we talked about finding that right level, what honestly the right level for you right now based on the evaluation and everything that you understood prior to that. From there, we went on and we've developed a hot list of schools that we want to potentially play for based on the level that we figured out we were in the last session and in the evaluation. So tomorrow we're going to talk about the making the video part, the sending the email part, and then understanding, am I being recruited? And then how to use your visits and scholarship. So stay tuned for that part tomorrow.